Russia has just told the United States that they will cause us harm in any way possible. They will find a way to hurt those that harm them. This is very interesting. The warning that President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, just gave us. But look at this right here. This is what President Trump is considering. He says Trump considered green light for Ukraine tomahawks could push Russia back. This is according to a NATO minister. Now, here's the reason why this is so important. Ukraine has been asking for Tomahawk missiles for quite some time. They've been asking for these for years. Under former President Joe Biden, we did not oblige. We did not give them Tomahawk missiles. President Trump has been very cautious, does not want to give them Tomahawk missiles. However, he's now opened the door to providing Tomahawk missiles to NATO. Not to Ukraine, to NATO. And then NATO, with whatever they decide to do with them, well, that would be on them. Russia now says no, that if the United States gives these Tomahawk missiles to NATO and they give them to Ukraine, then the United States is still at fault. But just listen to this. This is what President Vladimir Putin said just the other day. Look at this.
You've sent many signals to the world today, quite positive signals to the U.S. president, as well as mixed ones to European leaders, some positive and some strong. Is there any hope that someone will hear you?
I simply stated certain things honestly and openly, what the issues were, how I viewed them. It's up to my counterparts to decide how to take that. I was speaking sincerely and honestly, describing the things as they are, as they actually were, and how I would like to see them develop. The rest is up to those who were mentioned today in one way or another, up to their position. Some may like something, some may not. I didn't pursue any particular goal, nor do I aim to please others. You've just mentioned the US president. There were questions related to, let's say, the issues concerning the deliveries of new weapons to Ukraine, including long-range, high-precision systems like Tomahawks and so on. I have already said that this will destroy our relations, or at least the positive trends that have been developing in them. How things will turn out depends not only on us and not only on me.
Okay, so we're going to hear from President Trump again after this, but the reason why this is such a big deal is because these Tomahawk missiles can hit deep within Russia, can actually hit Moscow, and that's the concern. Look at this right here. It says, a supply of U.S. Tomahawk cruise missiles to Ukraine could help push Russia back. This is the foreign minister of NATO, of the ally Estonia. It says, sort of made a decision, according to President Trump. Goes on right here. This guy said in an interview Tuesday that Trump approving the supply of the cruise missile to Kyiv would send a very strong message to Moscow. Goes on to say, whatever we can give without any restrictions to Ukraine, it is helping to win the war and push Russia back. So, if President Trump and the U.S. is deciding to take down restrictions from military support as well as Tomahawks, it's just helping Ukraine win and push Russia back. Goes on to say, it's up to the U.S. to decide that. And that's what President Trump's doing. Listen to this.
Sell them to NATO and let them sell them to Ukraine.
Yeah, I've sort of made a decision, pretty much, if you consider. Yeah, I think I want to find out what they're doing with them.
So he sort of had a decision, sort of made a decision as to whether or not we are going to supply Ukraine or NATO with these Tomahawk missiles. However, what President Trump is saying is he wants to know, what is NATO planning to do with them? Are they just going to give them to Ukraine? Are they going to give them to Ukraine without asking any questions as to whether or not they're going to use them? Because Ukraine said, no, we won't use them. We're just going to use them as a bargaining chip. That's it. But look at this. This came out yesterday as well. It says Ukraine prepares for delivery of Tomahawk missiles it can't fire. So if Ukraine knows it can't fire these, why are they rushing to get them? Well, they're rushing to get these because they know it's going to put more pressure on Russia, because now there's a threat that Ukraine uses these and strikes deep within Russia. Let's keep listening to President Trump.
Yes.
You know, where are they sending them, I guess? I'd have to ask that question. That war should never have started, would have never started. Such bad judgment was used there. I think on both sides, by the way. But nobody looks good with the war with Russia and Ukraine. Nobody. It's been a horrible. This week they lost over 7,000 soldiers between the two of them. This is every week they're losing 7,000, 8,000, 5,000.
Yeah. He says they're losing thousands of soldiers every single week between the two different countries. But look at this, okay? Because President Trump also makes it very clear. He doesn't want to go to war. He doesn't want to go to war, but here's the concern, is that now if the United States sends these Tomahawk missiles to NATO, to a NATO country, and they give them to Ukraine, then Russia's saying that the United States is complicit in this, that we are at fault as well if they are used. Now, that's if they are used. But according to other reports, they are saying that Russia is prepared to target the United States and other NATO nations. It may not be a physical attack. It may not be an invasion or hitting us with drones, but it could be something like a cyber attack. And I've been saying this for several years, that what Russia has been telling us for the longest time is that a cyber attack is more likely than any other type of attack. So we just need to be prepared for that. If we see our phone lines go down, if we see internet doesn't work, okay, the TSA, we see our flight patterns, plans, whatever, they're scrambled. That's concerning. But listen to what President Trump just had to say.
I'm not looking to see escalation.
Simple enough. He's not looking to see escalation, but he wants to get this war over with. There's no reason why we are still fighting this war between Russia and Ukraine. He says it's just going on far too long. But look what Russia says. It says Russia will destroy Tomahawk missiles and their launchers if U.S. gives them to Ukraine. This is according to a senior lawmaker. Goes on to say, Russia will shoot down Tomahawk cruise missiles and bomb their launch sites if the United States decides to supply them to Ukraine and find a way to retaliate against Washington that hurts. This according to a senior Russian lawmaker. Now here's the interesting thing. Russia will shoot down Tomahawk cruise missiles. I understand that one. That's pretty self-explanatory. But they're going to bomb their launch sites if the United States decides to supply them to Ukraine. Well, are they actually going to bomb the launch sites prior to the cruise missiles going off? Or are they going to try to determine based off intelligence where these launch sites will be and bomb them prematurely? That's the big question. And then the fact that says they're going to find a way to retaliate against Washington. That hurts. That's the concern, is that right now millions of people around the world are looking at this. And it comes down to one decision. Is President Trump going to provide these Tomahawk cruise missiles to a NATO nation that's going to give them to Ukraine? Because according to reports, President Trump will not just give these Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, because that right there is going to cause Russia to panic as well and potentially attack the United States. So we're going to see what happens over the next several days. The expectation is that we are going to have somewhat of an answer sometime this week. So as we get reports on this and as we get more updates, I promise I will keep you up to date on everything that is going on. But as of right now, the concern is that the United States is stepping ever so closely to that line that could potentially cause additional war. So we'll see what happens, but that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.